Establishing the right narrative voice is vital to good storytelling. Let us discuss that in this video. Hi, and welcome to Daily Art Milestone. I am Renuka. This is the second video in the How to Write, Illustrate and Publish Children's Book series. Today, I'm going to speak about narrative voice. Well, what is narrative voice? Narrative voice tells whose eyes the reader sees a story through. It's also called a point of view. For this video, I'll speak about 3 most used narrative voices. The first one is third-person single point of view. In this point of view, the story is told by an outside observer who does not participate in the action but relates what happened in the story. The narrator sees the actions through one main character. That's why it's single point of view. For example, let's play around with a familiar woodcutter story. A woodcutter went to the forest to get some wood. While cutting a branch, his axe slipped from his hand and fell into the river. He was sad and sat crying in the riverbank. The river goddess appeared and promised to help him by retrieving his axe from her waters. First, she offered him a golden axe. He couldn't believe what he saw, but he refused it. It was not his axe. She then offered him a silver axe and finally a bronze axe. They were shining in the daylight, but he couldn't get himself to accept them. Next, the goddess offered him his own axe along with the other precious axes as a reward for his honesty. This story is told by an outside observer who does not participate in the action, but relates what happened in the story through the actions of one main character, the woodcutter. The woodcutter is never out of our sight. You will have an all-new fascinating story if you take the trees, the goddesses, or the axe's point of view. The second narrative voice is the third-person omniscient. The third-person omniscient is a point of view where the narrator knows all the thoughts, actions, and feelings of all characters. This is when the narrator jumps back and forth and in and out of the heads of each different character. Here is the same story in third-person omniscient. A woodcutter went to the forest to get some wood. The tree looked at him with fear, and her drooping branches were sure their end has come. She tried to discourage him by violently swaying to the wind. But the woodcutter was relentless. The tree tried to throw him into the river, but in vain. But she did manage to make him drop his axe into the river. The woodcutter was sad. He cried and lamented his children would go hungry if he didn't sell wood for a living. The tree was sorry too. She can grow more branches. Didn't he plant her in the first place? Soon, a goddess appeared from the water. She offered to help him, but before that, she was going to test him. She lured him by offering him a golden axe. The woodcutter was enamored by the shining golden axe. That would make him rich. His kids would never go hungry. But he resisted his temptation and did what was right. He refused the gold, the silver, and bronze axes the goddess offered. Finally, the goddess was pleased with his honesty and rewarded him with all 4 axes. The woodcutter was happy, and the tree was happy too. Though this is an interesting narrative for older readers, picture book listeners have trouble in following it. Staying in one character's mind allows the child to focus on and identify with the character. However, this can still be used if there is a need for it in the story. The third narrative is the first person point of view. In this voice, the narrator becomes the participant in the story. When you spot I and we, you can be sure you are in the first person narrative. This helps when you need to deal with feelings and internal thinking in a story. But the only drawback in this narrative is you cannot write about actions happening off stage. If I write the same story in the first person point of view, it would go like this. One day, I went to the forest to cut wood. It was unusually windy, and my axe slipped out of my hand and fell into the river. My axe is my only treasure. What would I do without it? I was miserable. Just then, a beautiful goddess appeared from the water. I had never seen anyone that beautiful. She spoke to me as if she knew me very well. She wanted to help me by retrieving my axe from her waters. She came out with an axe that was made up of pure gold. I couldn't believe what I saw. I could accept it and become rich. But that's not right. It was not my axe. She then offered a silver and a bronze axe. With a heavy heart, I declined all three. Finally, she retrieved my own axe. I joyfully accepted it, but the goddess gave me the other precious axes too, and said it was a reward for my honesty. I went home a happy man. These are the three most used narrative voices in children's books. Play around with these and see what is most suitable for your story. Sometimes just changing the point of view can infuse a new energy into your story. One last thing to remember: stick to one narrative technique throughout your book. I hope this video has been useful to you. I love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more such videos in this series of how to write, illustrate, and publish children's book. Thank you, and see you again in the next video.